Hi Aquarius, and welcome to your August 2018 tarot reading. We have a 10-card Celtic cross spread in front of us, and then we also have an oracle card that we'll read at the end to help tie everything together. So let's go through the cards one by one. Starting with, in the main situation position, we have the Ace of Swords. So to me, this is usually going to be communication coming in. It's usually truthful communication as well. So, it could be either you're communicating something truthfully to someone or vice versa. It could just be finding out something as well from a neutral party, perhaps, if there's, maybe you were in conflict with someone, maybe someone shed some light on what's going on with that person. That's a possibility. But what seems more likely, though, looking at the challenge position being the Seven of Wands, this tells me that whatever truth comes out, it's going to lead to conflict of some kind. So it could be, let's say you have to be honest about something, and the challenge is it's going to cause conflict, right? Maybe maybe you want to move in a different direction, considering that we have the Knight of Swords going one way, and then there's the Knight of Cups in the environment going the other way. So it could be that you're thinking about telling someone you want to separate if you're in a relationship, and then you know that that's going to cause conflict if you tell them that. That's certainly a possibility. Another way that could play out, though, is you might just have to defend yourself. Maybe you've been falsely accused of something, and that's where the Ace of Swords comes in. And then that's saying the Seven of Wands. They're saying you're gonna have to stand up for yourself. For some of you, it could even be, considering that we had the Ace of Cups there, could be that you want to extend an emotional offer to someone, and you know that they have a lot of other suitors, so that there's going to be a competition in that regard. That's certainly a possibility. In the foundation position, we had the Knight of Swords. This isn't normally a Gemini card, so it's certainly possible that you're dealing with the Gemini. But this could also just be tied into what's going on here. Like I said, meaning that you're trying to communicate that you want to move forward in some way, whether it's you're extending an offer to someone new, or you're trying to leave a situation that you've been in. Like I said, the reason I think that could be a possibility is we have the Knight of Swords going one way, and then your environment position, we have another Knight that's going the other way. And then we have the Fool in the near future position for you as well, so that would point to a new start. So it could be that that's what's going on there. But yeah, it certainly could be another person you're dealing with too. This could be a conflict between two air signs, or maybe this air sign brings the truth to you, or they confront you about something and then you have to defend yourself. There's a few different ways that it could go. I definitely see these cards tied in together. In the past, we have the Magician. So this is saying that you were trying to manifest something new in the past. That's one way that this could go. I also see this as my South Node card, though. And the South Node is currently in your sign. So that could be what this is referring to. And usually when the South Node is transiting through your sign, it's asking you to let some things go. So that would certainly seem to align with that message as well, of maybe you're wanting to part ways with someone. But yeah, we'll see if that clarifies as we go along. In the present position, we have the Ace of Cups. So this could mean a few things. This could mean that someone extends a love offer to you, certainly, and maybe that's what the Knight of Cups is about. Maybe they're someone, maybe a Knight of Cups, which usually that's my Pisces card, but it could be any water sign, or as the Knight of Cups, it could just be saying that it's any kind of emotional offer. So maybe someone comes forward to you regarding their feelings, and you express to them that you're maybe not interested, and you'd rather stay single, and then maybe that causes conflict. And, that's one way that it could go. But, could also be that you're leaving one relationship for another. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on in in your 7th house in August. I'm actually recording this on the 22nd of July, and in a few days there's going to be a full moon in your sign, and it's going to be hanging out with Mars and with the South Node, so that could be a very big full moon lunar eclipse there. It's supposed to be the longest one in a century too, so that's significant. And then on top of that, once that energy starts to clear a bit, you're going to have a new moon solar eclipse in your 7th house of Leo. That'll be August 11th. So that could point to that too, saying that you're leaving one thing behind and starting something new right on its heels. But there's also going to be Mercury retrograde in your 7th house too. So that could be, that could cause some confusion too. So maybe it's a misunderstanding that you need to clear up. If it's an existing relationship, sometimes retrogrades are good for that, to clear up something that was misunderstood in the past. So that's where the conflict could come about. You're just standing up for yourself regarding something that maybe you were accused of. If that's the case and it's an existing relationship, then I see that it'll probably go well, given that in the environment position you have the Knight of Cups. So it could be you standing up for yourself and then the person realizing that they were in the wrong and then they extend an apology to you. That's a possibility. But for some of you, it could just mean splitting from one relationship completely and moving into another one. But yeah, it'll be different for some of you. All right, in the near future position, we have the Fool. So again, this is something else that points to a new start. And then, like I just said, with all that eclipse energy going on, that certainly would align with new starts as well. Could just be that, it might not be, I'm leaving one relationship for another. It could just be saying you're just deciding to be single altogether. Or maybe if you have been single, this new start is saying you take a leap of faith and extend the offer to someone romantically, and then you find out that the feelings are reciprocated because they have the Knight of Cups there. That's certainly a possibility too, given that in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Temperance card. So that's a card of balance, seeking balance anyway. And then, we could point out the fact that there are 2 cups in that card. So, and then you could see that there's the mixing of the water between the two. So that could be what that's saying too. You deciding to take that leap of faith and extend the offer to someone. Maybe you're just worried that that maybe you tell them how you feel and it's going to lead to a conflict. But then it ends up playing out well. Or again, maybe you're pursuing someone that has multiple people that are interested in them, but with this card up here, with the person up there, it looks like they have the higher ground, meaning that, if there are multiple suitors for this person, you most likely have the upper hand. But maybe it's just a matter of you feeling that way. You might not feel confident in the fact that, I could, pursue this person and they'll say yes. But the Fool energy there, and there's a lot of things at play that could lead to those things turning out positively. And for some of you, this could be career related too, because Temperance is the major arcana card for Sagittarius. And the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter, and that's in your 10th house, which is a career and status house, and it's just started to move direct recently. So maybe that could be it too. You're leaving one job for another, and maybe that's going to cause conflict. But most of you, I see this as more of a romantic relationship dynamic more than career, but it's possible it could be career for some of you. Like we said, in the environment position, we have the Knight of Cups. Normally that's my Pisces card. But it could be any water sign or just anyone that's extending an emotional offer to you. So maybe they're the ones with the Ace of Cups extending the offer. Like we said, there's no guarantee that you have to accept the offer, so it's still at play that you might turn them down, knowing it's going to cause conflict, that they're going to be disappointed. Maybe they might feel that you're leading them on. Or maybe they were, maybe you had multiple suitors and they're trying to get you to commit, and you tell them that you're not necessarily interested in settling down. You're more in that fool energy. And that's why we see those two knights in opposite directions. There's a few ways that it could play out. But I do feel that in some way, shape, or form, someone is romantically interested in you. So whether this is them making the offer or it's you that wants to make the offer, but you're, maybe worried that it won't turn out the way you're expecting, it looks like it will turn out well. Just keep in mind with all that retrograde energy and the eclipse energy going on in your seventh house that try to take things slow if it's a brand new relationship. If it's the repairing, like I said, of an existing one, that looks like that'll go well too, so nothing to worry about there. In the hopes or fears position, we have the hangman. So I would say this is probably a hope of yours. Maybe you're just hoping that someone, again, if you're the one who's trying to extend the offer, maybe you're hoping that someone will see things from a different perspective. Or maybe you're trying to weigh out your options and you're hoping to get that time to weigh out the options. Maybe that's what the temperance card is referring to. It could just be even two totally separate people. You might have an air sign that's pursuing you, and then you have a water sign, and then you're thinking to yourself, well, these people are total opposites. Which one would I want to go with, if any, right? So that could be what's going on there. But with this in the hopes or fears position, it's not necessarily something that's going to come into play. It's just something that's on your mind. And then in the outcome position, we have the Chariot in reverse. So the Chariot is seen as a victory card. So that, in some regards, you might think if that's the case, with it in reverse, that this contradicts saying that, hey, if you're the one extending the offer to someone, you will be victorious. That's not necessarily the case, but it can be for some of you, of course. But to me, with this in reverse, and just looking at the layout of the cards, it could just be talking about the retrograde energy. Maybe you make the offer and you're in that fool energy, you're ready to go full speed ahead, right? With the Knight of Swords there, and then with the Chariot, it's saying that it gets off to a slow start. If that's the case, it's not necessarily anything to worry about. It's just more the energies at play. The eclipses, Mercury going backwards in your seventh house. And that should clear up by next month if that's the case. By September, I should say. So, for some of you, this could be issues regarding travel. And that's another thing that could happen a lot with Mercury in retrograde. So make sure you double check your travel plans. That could be what's at play there. This could be trouble with a vehicle. So if you're overdue to get an oil change or check your tire pressure, even small things like that, or if there's something bigger that you should get looked at, but you haven't done so yet. This card in the reverse position says that you might want to do that sooner rather than later. And we have the Page of Wands at the bottom of the deck too. And to me, this kind of reminds me of that Fool energy. So just seems like you're ready to start something new in some way or another, whether it's reconnecting with someone that you might have had a falling out with, or just starting with someone new altogether, or just a new start in your life. Looks like you're definitely in that energy, but keep in mind with this card in reverse and the outcome, it could just be saying it might get off to a slower start than you were expecting. So, you don't necessarily have to worry about that. Like we said, again, if this is your energy, look at the Knight of Swords, look at the speed. You could see that they're moving fast just from the artwork there. Whereas the Knight of Cups, everything, you could tell the environment's a lot more still, right? So maybe you're just ready to go full speed ahead and they're a little more, slower and traditional with it. And maybe that's what it's saying for you, is to establish balance in that regard, to try to, slow down and let things play out. And that could be what this is saying too, slow down. The Hangman, it could be saying slow down. So it could just be you guys moving at two different speeds. And Libra actually had these two cards in these exact positions too. The rest of their cards were totally different, but these two, I remember we're in the exact same spot. So if you're dealing with a Libra, keep that in mind. Maybe you could check out their reading. Or if you have Libra somewhere in your chart, like, you're maybe your Aquarius sun, but Libra rising, check that out, or Libra moon. Might want to check that reading out too. It might help bring more clarity to the overall picture. And now we'll look at the Oracle card. So the Oracle card is the Fates. We'll take a look at the artwork there. And then the number is 17, if that has any significance for you. All right, we'll read the message from the book. It says, fate, karma, acceptance that there are things you cannot change, and knowing what those things are. The Oracle's message. The Serenity Prayer sums up the meaning of this card. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are things in life you will never have control over. The conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, by nature, and by your past experiences may be fated, preordained by spirit for a greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. It may not be in your cards to understand why certain events occurred, but you can accept the mystery and work with what those events and your current circumstances have to teach you. This is the wisdom contained in the Serenity Prayer. So, maybe that's what it is. Like we said here, maybe maybe you speak your truth about something and it leads to conflict and you're not understanding what's going on there. Or maybe again with the Chariot in reverse, things aren't moving at the speed that you were hoping they were, but I definitely don't see it as a gloom and doom message necessarily. I do view the Chariot, I view that as related to the nodes as well. So this could be referring to all the eclipse energy, might have things turned around in your life, but overall I see a lot of positive cards here. So, and a lot of movement from you. If anything, it just seems like two people that might be moving at a different speed right now. Maybe just approaching things from a different perspective. And with all that retrograde energy at play, that can clear up with some time if you're willing to give it that time. All right, we'll read the relationship message. It says, other people are who they are. You can't change them. The challenge is to accept them as they are and not try to make them otherwise to suit you. This is a time to look at how you attempt to mold people to fit your view of how they should be so you can remain in the relationship and avoid discomfort. What if who they are and whatever is happening between you and them in this situation is perfect from the perspective of spirit? Now is the time to accept that you cannot change what you cannot change, even if it means that you honor yourself, spirit, and the other person by moving on. Love unconditionally, for each of us is on our own journey, and we cannot direct that of another. Be aware that this relationship is indeed fated, and you are meant to evolve into a better version of yourself as a result of it. So that could be what this is too, right? Maybe it's you realizing that, okay, I'm more of this Knight of Swords type energy, they're more of that Knight of Cups type energy. It's just not working together, and then that's where you come to that Fool energy where you decide that you want to have a new start, right? So it does say that is a possibility. Maybe you'll decide to walk away. Or maybe it's you coming to that realization that, maybe you were taking something personally or they took something you did personally, and you're just coming to a realization that, this is how this person is. It's not that they meant any harm by it, or, I didn't mean any harm by what they did, but I understand now why they might have reacted the way they did, and trying to establish the balance between the two of you. Those are the two different ways that could play out. All right, and now we'll read the prosperity message. Your experiences concerning prosperity and abundance are beyond your personal control right now. You are being invited to accept what is unreservedly. This could be a temporary situation, seemingly thrust upon you by outside forces, but there is an underlying purpose you can't see that has been determined by the fates. It could be a situation you are unprepared for, and you may not understand how it will benefit you in the moment. Do not fight the situation. Ride it out and see where it leads. Surrender to it, and the serenity you need to make choices from here on out will be given to you. You will indeed flourish. So, I mean, that could play out in what's going on here too. Maybe that Ace of Swords is something that comes out of nowhere and surprises you. You know, it's a message that comes in quickly, and then you're feeling like you have to scramble to restore that balance, right? That could be what's going on. And with the Chariot in reverse here, you might feel like you're on the losing end of a battle. But, you know, these eclipses coming up here are the last ones, really. I mean, I think there's another one next year with the Aquarius Leo axis, but I think it's at 0 degrees of Leo, like a full moon during the time of Aquarius next year. So for the most part, you guys are done with those eclipses in your sign and the opposite sign. They're going to move on to Cancer and Capricorn now. So, you know, there could have been a lot of karmic things at play, especially this. Like I said, I'm recording this the 22nd of July, and on the 27th, there's going to be that full moon lunar eclipse in your sign. That's right with Mars, right with the node, and it's squaring Uranus. So that could bring, that Uranus energy could bring something out of the blue. So, you know, there's definitely some things at play, but I would say no matter what, especially with the Temperance card here, even if you're starting something new, try not to panic if it doesn't seem to be moving at the speed that you want it to. That energy should start to subside as we get towards the end of August and then moving into September. All right, but that was all the messages I had for this month, guys. So I'll see you all next month. Bye.